Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, aliens of all ages, this here is Jack of Jack of Model. I know the mask might be making you think that I'm not who I say I am, but welcome to the lair for our special Halloween episode. You can tell it's Halloween because I'm, wearing mask because I don't wear masks in public. Anyhow, so today for the Halloween episode, this is coming out on Tuesday. Halloween will be on Thursday. I'm going to do something a little geeky in a different way. I call this geeky in a 60s way. It doesn't deal with science fiction. It doesn't deal with comic books. Today's build is going to deal with the T'Rantula originally by Monogram model kits. And we're going to be building the Atlantis model kit reissue, basically, is what we're going to be working on. Now, this was designed in 1968 by Tom Daniel, who is very prolific at designing weird cars. You've probably seen his work, didn't know it. T'Rantula is a rail car dragster that looks like a spider. Basically, it's got a lot of spider qualities to it. So, like Spider-Man, but that's what we got here. So he's also done some other well-knowns, like there's the Red Baron, which was used for Hot Wheels for a long time. Basically, the big metal helmet that looked like something out of World War One. Big silver helmet with a red car, and it had the guns on the side and everything. Tom Daniel was working at Monogram Models at the time, and he not only designed, but he'd paint these great covers for the box art and everything. So we will be sticking with pretty much a standard build with this one, but being that it officially is a green car, I'm going to change it up a little bit in the paint job. But other than that, we're going to do a stock build of the car. So let's go down to the lab and see what's on the slab. I see you shudder with anticipation. Okay, folks, thanks for joining me in the lab. I am down here with the Lil T'Rantula dragster model kit by Atlantis Models, based on the design by Tom Daniel. And people ask me, what do you see what makes you choose a model kit? And well, I always go, this is the first thing I see. It's on the shelf like this, gives you an idea of what you're getting into. Usually it's a copy of the box art, which on this is incredible. But what I want to touch on are a couple of different things. One, this box is solid. This is not cheap boxes. This, I think you could stand a small child on top of and it wouldn't bend. The other thing is, this is a snap to build. This is an easy assemble, no glue or paint required. And this sometimes turns people off, but don't let that happen to you, because sometimes snap together kits are really, really nice. And they're also a good thing, and you can just build them straight and you'll get a nice kit. You don't have to paint, you don't have to glue, you don't have to get, way into the building, and you'll still get a nice looking kit. It's also a nice thing to start with your kids. Mom or dad can take the kids and say, hey, let's build a model kit together. Let's start a hobby that you can take with you for the rest of your life. It's a great time. But look at this. I mean, beautiful artwork on the front. On the side, we have a beautiful full color picture of the model kit and a little bit about the model. Sides, of course, same as the top. And the back, another fantastic picture of the model kit. But you think that's all? No, it's not. Look at that. The bottom of the box has a nice full color picture of the model kit. It's got all your information, giving you skill levels and so on and so forth. You think this is the best part of it. Well, let me tell you something. I don't do this very often during a model review, but I'm going to do this with this model because these models are very well packed into their box. I mean, they do really nice stuff. And I mean, look at this. This is your instruction manual. It is nice, descriptive, full color, shows you everything you need to do to put the kit together, and ending with step number 7, which is placing the model onto the base. This one came with a flex file. This is a nice little flexible sanding file to sand the edges, as a I'm assuming some kind of promotion to get you to buy them. Now we go into the kit, and everything is packed in one bag. That you don't see very often. And obviously everything in here is already colored, you know, the correct colors for the model kit. You'll see that there's not a lot of excess building. Going from this piece right here, you've got a seat, you've got the odd shaped wheels, so they're not rubber like in a lot of car model kits. They are plastic because of the shape of them. And as you can see, the main part of the engine that shows is one piece. You know, there's extra pieces to go on it, but the majority of it is in one piece. So that's kind of cool. You come to the body of the car, and it's printed. It is molded in the green, and look at that beautiful green. I mean, there's just, it's sad that I'm going to be doing a little different with this, because it doesn't scream tarantula to me to be green, nor does the design. So I'm going to paint this down with the ultra matte black and turn it into a Black Widow car. The main body of the dragster, all one piece, but look at that. I mean, it just, this is why you get Atlantis models, because you're going to get some good stuff. The base is really kind of neat. I'm probably going to dry brush this. And we've got more pieces. The nose of the car. We've got the roof of the car. And then we've got pieces. They're not chrome. They are silver, however. So you've got, you know, the hubs for the wheels. You've got the extra parts for the engines. You use the front end with the wheels and axles built into one piece, and then the little detail that goes out around the front of the car. And then you can see the little hubcaps are really kind of cool. All the engine parts are modeled in silver. But this is really nice. It's going to go together really easily with snap together models. I mean, these are nice sturdy pieces. I think a little bit sturdier than the pieces in the glue together kits. And I mean, they're nice. This is smooth. I mean, if I were to build this as is, it would be gorgeous. So hats off to Atlantis. You know, give me a little ringy dingy. I sure wouldn't mind being sponsored by you at Atlantis, because I would build all of your kits if they're this quality. This is probably so far the best quality kit I've seen. But remember, folks, as always, the link to this model will be below from our Amazon store, so you can always go and get this kit and do whatever you want to do with it. You can build it straight out of the box, or you can, you know, do a little paint job and have a little bit of fun with it. So we're gonna go start with the priming, and we'll be back after this. All right, so I'm starting to pull the model apart using my nippers. Remember, always having nippers to cut these things, because it makes life so much easier when you're cutting off of the trees like this. But as you can see, there's usually a little burr or something. I'm going to use the little sand file that came with the kit and just kind of sand down the little burrs that you get. It's working pretty smoothly. Looks pretty sharp. The one thing I did notice as far as the snap together portion of this is the first piece to put together is the rear of the dragster. Now, what makes it snap together is that you will put the wheels and the axle, which here's the axle, and I'm going to use my nippers and nip it off. But to do this purely as a snap model and do it in color, you do have to have the back pieces together. And as you can see, there's a little hole that needs to line up right there. And then you want to hook it on the back here first. Then you put the axle through, and that's going to hold for the most part, right? As you can see, this does hold pretty well. So if you want to just snap it together like this and go ahead and leave it the color, it's going to be okay. But there are little gaps here, and there's a control rod that's going to come out of here. So there's a little hole. Normally, I would glue this together, which I'm going to do in a moment, and then I will run some filler putty around these little slits here, or this little seam area, so that I can fill it, sand it down, prime it, and you're not going to notice that's there anymore. Now, the second major part of the construction is going to be right here. Number 2 is the motor. So we're going to start out with the main part of the motor, which is this part with the exhaust pipes on it, which is pretty much why it's the T'Rantula. I'm going to snip that. I am going to snip the belt is here. The fan belt is also one of the black pieces. Going to snap that out. Now I might not do a lot of painting on the motor because I kind of like the fact that it's silver like this and black. And I was going to, I'm going to paint it black anyhow. So we're going to go over here and we're going to get the next part of the engine. And the engine I'm going to snap together. And obviously there's only one way to put it together, and that's just to snap it right in here. And I'm going to show you most of this snapping together because, like I said, it's a great way to start the hobby with your kids. And I'm going to get this whole motor together, and then we will move on to the painting. You get the nippers out again. This goes right in the top here, like so. And like I say, it's fairly simple, not very difficult to put together. I'm going to get the blowers. There's 2 blowers here. As you can see, you nip them off and they're ready to rock and roll. You might want to look at them, see if you need to sand them down on the edges. Usually with the nippers, you can get them close enough that you really don't need to sand them down, unless they're like a body part. That's an exterior body part that's supposed to be really smooth, because that is really smooth on the edge there. And I don't need to do anything with that. So I'm going to bring this back up. I'm going to bring it to the front, and the blowers just attach via these 2 pins. And then you get the one in, and then you go to the other side and you get the other in, and that's a pretty decent fit. They go together pretty quickly. You're gonna have something that looks a little like that. And then finally you have the belt. The belt is going to connect between the top of the engine and the lower part of the engine. And that's just gonna, okay. Now this one is a little tricky on the front of the motor, that it doesn't hold in too tightly, but it's okay. Because once you put this on, it's gonna hold the 2 pieces together, and you're going to be good. So there you go. You've got your motor, and then the motor is going to fit right in here. And it's got like a little clip that you're going to stick it back on. I'm not going to stick this in yet because I want to paint down the car first. Okay, and now with the base. As you can see, there's some raised detail on the base, and I am going to use some sterling silver to highlight it with a little bit of dry brushing. So I'm going to start out by getting a little bit of silver into my palette. I'm going to use kind of a larger brush just to get, and it's a stiffer brush, to get some of the all over. And just get a little bit of paint on the edge of the brush because this detail isn't very raised. And I'm just going to lightly go across and just do some highlighting. And it's okay if it gets down below because it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, this is just the base, and you want to get a little bit of paint just here and there. It doesn't have to be on every piece of the web, and you can wipe it off a little bit. It's just to give it a little character. But there, you've got a little bit of detail, a little raised detail, a little lower detail. It makes for a nice stand. Okay, as you can see, I painted it down with the ultra matte black. Now I did put in the lower part of the motor because of the fact that the images on the box show the pipes being black, like the rest are, in contrast to the rest of the car. But I also like the fact that they're black because it adds to the spider motif. So I wanted it the same color. And then I added the front panel and the belt, the fan belt, to the front of the model, or the front of the engine. I also painted the upper part of the front body and added in the radiator on top. Now this will snap right on the top here, and I'm just going to snap it in when I snap it in, and have a little gap there because of the fact that, I mean, it won't be much of a seam, but even if it were, it is part of how the actual car would be, because they have to have that part readily to come off, so it's just like the hood of a car. Snap in the rest of the motor like so. Attach the upper part of the belt, snaps right in. All that is snapping into place. The front wheels are all prepared, and I showed earlier how I prepared them. They just go straight in like this. You line them up back here. There's a little peg up front, and that goes right into the wheel there, and snaps into place. Now, with that done, I'm going to turn my attention to this part because there are headlights, and they're very simple headlights, or running lights, I should say, that just pop right in to these little holes here, and once again they snap right into place, so there's no need for gluing them into place. But I want to get those on before I attach this to the front of the car, and then boom, you just snap it into place. You hear that little satisfying snap. As you can see, there is a slight seam there, but it really doesn't show, so that's kind of nice. So I've got the front. Now I have the wheels, which the rear wheels, which would have held this together had I snapped it together. And you're just going to slide this through like so. You've got the wheels sticking out there, give it that nice look. Going to take the other wheel, put it on the other side, snap it into place. Boom, you hear that snap. And you've got the car so far. So with the majority of the car done in the nice ultra matte black, gives it a nice Black Widow look rather than a T'Rantula look. I took the seat and I sprayed it down with a little of this colored chrome. You can't see, there we are, Rust-Oleum colored chrome. It's a red colored chrome, but what I did was I used it without putting down some primer, so that it gave it almost like a wet brush look. I wanted to give it a little three-dimensionality that way. And then she's just going to fit right down here. In a moment we'll be back with the final reveal. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode as much as I enjoyed doing it. For Halloween, we got ourselves the lovely Lil Black Widow instead of the Lil T'Rantula. I like the way it turned out. Everything looks good. It is a nifty little kit. Like I said, it's a great thing to start out with a kid. Try it out. Anyhow, until 2 weeks from today, when we have our next episode, please go down below here, right down here, and hit subscribe, hit like, hit all that stuff, share it with your friends, phone the neighbors, wake the kids. We're having some fun now. This has been our Halloween episode. Feel free to comment below. Also, any of the stuff that was used in tonight's episode will be, down here. There will be a link to my Amazon, so you can check it out. So, once again, this is Jack. Came here to chew bubblegum and build models, and I'm all out of bubblegum, but now I'm going to go find some. So this is Jack saying, hang tough, have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week, or 2 weeks from tonight. Jack out.